I'm going to read your bio first. I love your bio and I love your photo. Is there anything you want me to change in your bio now, or that you do private? I don't know if it says it. I haven't read it.
Oh, sure. You could say that.
Great. So one-on-one therapy, client.
Yeah, coaching. Yeah.
Okay, great. Of course, it's my website. My email has decided to. My Wi-Fi. I feel like my computer is like, I'm done with this whole thing. It's been a year.
Isn't it great to have two devices though? I do that all the time. I'm like, this isn't working. So
right.
I can
Obviously that's not working. So let me open this. Okay. Let me find where, because you sent it to me and I have it. I got to turn off my Wi-Fi on my phone too. Oh, I just saw that I just saw your email. When I searched your name, I'm on your mailing list. I've been quietly reflecting, so I can't wait to read that. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, here we go. We're recording. Okay. I'm so happy today to have Jessica Butts with me. Jessica is the creator, CEO of Front Seat Life. She's a Myers-Briggs expert. She's a life business coach for intuitive women. She's a therapist. She's an author. She's a keynote speaker, podcaster, and she brings so much love and heart to everything she does. She is an ENFJ, truth teller, F-bomb dropper, hopefully today, a lover of all things Maui, and fiercely dedicated to helping you become unapologetically who you are. I am so happy to call her my friend and have her here today. Jess, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Miss Dr. Elizabeth, I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's fun to hear that bio too. It's like, oh yeah, that is me.
Yes, exactly. That is the amazing you. So here you could talk about so many things. But today we're going to talk a little bit about you and your experience of your divorce. And I always start the podcast by asking the same question, which is, what is one word you would use to describe your divorce?
Ooh, there's so many. I'll go with freedom.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The other one would have been empowerment. So I'm gonna.
You can have both. You can have two.
Okay. Freedom and empowerment.
Great. Okay. Excellent. So we're going to get to why you use those words in a moment. But first, I want to talk a little bit about when you started getting that little itch or hearing that little voice, right? That something in your relationship was just not working, because a lot of people, I really like to point out, it takes a long time from that first little voice to when we make the decision. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. And nothing could be further from the truth. So, could be more truthful. Sorry. That is the most true comment. And I tell my clients that all the time. Like, I never expect you to change quickly, because it took me 6 years to leave. So, quite honestly, it was a long process. It was 6 years. And so the very beginning was my gut. My gut told me something was up. And I, of course, confronted, and what's happening? Am I crazy? What's going on here? We're not connecting. What's happening? And just lip service, just trying to CYA, cover his butt, which is fine. But I knew it. I knew in my gut something was going on. And again, the details don't really matter, but there was affairs and addiction, and I just knew something was going on. And it was the weirdest moment when I realized I was right. I felt such relief. And which is, I think, crazy, because most people would be like, aren't you so sad? But I'm like, I was relieved that my inner knowing, that my gut, and that I was done being lied to. Like, because I went through so many months of, am I crazy or are you crazy? Am I crazy? Like, what's happening here?
Right.
And so when my suspicions were confirmed, it was freedom and empowerment. And again, it still took 6 years. We went to therapy, we still did all of the things. But it was a very weird moment of, damn it, my gut is right. My intuition was right. And there is weird freedom and empowerment in knowing that your internal compass is accurate. It's still heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It was still heartbreaking, but man, that felt good to know that I wasn't crazy.
Well, I think that's so important, Jess. And it's exactly, something that I experienced too in my divorce, which is there's nothing worse, and you said, than the crazy making, the doubting of yourself.
Oh.
And there is this, I think of it as like leaving yourself, like literally abandoning yourself and believing some other bullshit so that you can keep going. And that the more you do that, like I have chills saying it because like, it so well when you've done it. You do it to survive. You think it's the right thing to do, but it's like eating you alive.
Yeah. 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 I went through, it's weird because I had so many iterations, and maybe some of your listeners can resonate with this too. I had the initial, oh my God, that moment where I realized, wow, this thing is actually happening. And then, we went to therapy and we got back together and we did the whole, oh God, we're going to buy a new house and things are going to get so much better, or we're going to have a baby or dogs or whatever. Our dipshit choice was to go buy a new house. So we bought a new house. And so I think to elaborate on like the next iteration of, I know that it's still not working. And I actually talk a lot about this is I've been with him since I was 20 years old. And so, so 20 to 40. And so finally at my 40th birthday, we decided to go to Maui. And I remember being on the plane. This is so awful. We're on a plane to Maui, flying across the Pacific Ocean for 5 hours. And all of a sudden I blurted out, I don't think I want to be married to you anymore. And it came out of my mouth and I went, oh, fuck. Now what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what did I just do? I just blew up this 2-week trip. We've got it. I mean, it was like, but it was great because that set the stage. Like he knew what was up.
Right.
But the other thing that was really, really important to me is that during those 6 years, there were so many times when my heart was broken. My heart was broken, so I couldn't trust my heart, right? I'd ask my heart, like, do I stay in this? Do I leave? Maybe he'll get better. Maybe we can fix this. It's going to get better. That's what everyone does. And then my head was also failing me. I couldn't logic my way out of it. The logic my head and my heart, I felt like they were failing me. Like I was going crazy. Do you stay? Do you go? Do you fix this? I don't really want to be here, but I'm going to disappoint so many people. There's so many things going on.
Yeah.
And then at one point I had a very interesting moment where he walked in the house and I backed away. I had a somatic response and I literally moved away from him. And that was a moment that I will never forget, that when my head and my heart could not make the decision because I was broken. I was so hurt and confused that the only vessel, the only tool that I could use at the moment was my body. And my body was not lying. I would lose my throat. I would lose my voice all the time because I needed to say stuff. I had unbelievable, I would probably consider it IBS. I had diarrhea all the time. My stomach hurt all the time. I had super just somatic responses. But in that moment, I was like, my body is not failing me. My body is telling me I need to move away from this.
Yes.
It was a very powerful moment.
Wow. Yes. And I love that you're bringing up this idea of tuning into heart, mind, and body, that there are messages being sent to you all the time, and you don't have to hear them and take action, right? It's awareness and then acceptance. Action comes last. And so just to know that you can just listen, and that at some point, when you were on the plane, that was the time. Like we just never know when it's going to be the right time.
Yep.
But it's the right time for you.
And it takes time.
Yes.
It takes time. And again, everybody's going to have their own experience, right? I'm not judging about anybody's experience. You may find out and leave immediately. I don't know. Or I don't know, whatever your experience is. But all I know is that I had to feel like I put every effort in.
Yeah.
that I would leave and feel good, because I was the one who ultimately left. And I had to think to myself, when I'm 10 years down the road, 30 years down the road, I'm going to feel empowered.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a victim. I don't regret my decision. I've never looked back. He's told me he waited around for over a year waiting for me to change my mind because he knew I would. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's not going to happen, because I was so clear that is what I needed. The other thing that I did a lot of,
yeah, do tell.
I kept asking God for signs.
Great.
I mean, and I got so many, but that was the problem, is I kept getting them. And I joke a lot, like God and I have a funny relationship, but I feel like at some point he was like, yo girl, like, I've done enough. I've given you enough signs, girlfriend. You need to actually start paying attention. Because it's so hard. It's so hard to make that decision. And so I would just be like, okay, God, okay, I need one more thing.
Right.
One more, I need him to screw up one more time, or one more thing. And what I found was, it wasn't ever about the stuff that he did or whatever, which there was plenty of it. It was me. It was my decision, the life that I wanted, getting clear that I wanted a new life, getting clear that you had hurt me enough that it was time to move on. What's interesting, it was never about him. It's never about her or him or whatever. It was ultimately always about me.
Yes, I love it. Such a profound, and that is also why only you could know when it was time to go.
100%.
Because it was about you. It wasn't about him. It wasn't, I think people often say, like, if he does this one more time, like, it's right. It's not actually about if he does it anymore. It's when am I?
Yep.
Right.
And this is kind of the work that I do now is I absolutely believe in relationships. I 100% believe in marriage. I believe in, them and us, whatever. But I also believe, because I saw this in myself and I saw this in a lot of my clients throughout the years, is that they don't know what they want. Like, all this stuff is happening to them. And instead of focusing on like that stuff, it's like, can I remove I'm actually a huge fan of trial separations, because I think it gives people time to figure out, like, what do I actually want? What are my expectations? Because most couples get to a place where they're at because things haven't been great. And so then it's a time of reevaluating, like, this is what I want as a human being. These are my needs and my expectations. And yes, this is a compromise. And yes, we get to do some work together, but like, I need to figure out what I want. I see so many people talking about that other person, and I just want to go, stop.
Exactly.
About you. What about you? What do you want?
What did you learn? What did you learn that you didn't know about yourself once you were out of that? What did you learn?
Wow. Wow. I mean, so much. So much. My entire life changed. So what I learned was, I am more magnificent, more powerful, more weird, more creative than I ever knew, because I was in a toxic, unhealthy, codependent relationship. There was no place for Jessica Butts. There was, there was no place for me. I was so wrapped up in a lot of the bullshit going on that I didn't know. I mean, everybody, your message is your message, right? Like, I didn't know who I was. I mean, I remember the first time it happening, having my kitchen floor moment. Everybody's got their moment. My kitchen floor moment of, who the fuck am I? How have I allowed this to happen to me? Again, it wasn't even about what he was doing. It was like, who am I? I am a strong woman. I came from a lineage of some badass baller bitches. What is going on? How am I letting it happen? And so since then, I have just discovered who I am. I don't even think I knew who I was because I was in such a codependent relationship.
Yep.
Again, when I was 20,
Yep.
we were in college. He was, BMOC, big man on campus.
Yep.
It was all about his persona.
Right.
And when I left him, I mean, my whole life started. It's been, I don't even know how many years. Well, I'm almost 48, so that's how I always know. It was very convenient that it was 40. And I know, right? It was right on my birthday, so it was very convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 years later, like I am who God designed me to be.
Yeah.
I am who I'm supposed to be because I've had that freedom to be able to do it. And I think relationships, wonderful, healthy, detached relationships, you still get to do that. But in mine, it was not healthy detached. It was extreme codependency.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just didn't have any place to do that. I will also add, I don't know if you want to go here yet, but it took me 3.5. I mean, I don't talk about this all the time because I find it somewhat embarrassing. That it took me about 3.5 years after that, I would call it toxic relationship, to know my worth.
Yeah.
Meaning, I dated a lot of the wrong people.
Yep.
Let myself not be treated super well.
Yeah. Were you also getting some healing at that time? Because I think it's important to know that even while you're getting healing, that can happen.
100%. I didn't date. I mean, I was just zero interest for a very, 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 very long time. But yeah, so I was doing all the things, therapy and building my business and figuring out who I was. I mean, all of my life started exploding basically when I left. But it just takes a while. And I think people think they're all fixed, or, I do have some judgment about people who jump into dating. I'm like, can we just slow your roll? Like, this is the first time in your life where you're able to just focus on yourself. I loved it. I mean, I would work and I would come home and I would just dance around my apartment. I'm free. No one's here to bug me. I get to figure out who I am. I get to read books. I traveled all over the place by myself.
Because then when you're ready to be in a healthy relationship, you're really sharing a full person with your new partner. I mean, it's not unrelated. It's not like a lot of times people talk about like waiting to work on yourself and then be in a relationship. It's like, no, that's the beginning of being in a relationship, is shoring up, is shoring up the relationship with yourself. It's part of it.
It's so true. The very first guy I went on a date with, and what's weird is we're actually still really, really good friends. He was the first person I went on a date with about a year and a month after my divorce. And we had a super strong connection. Obviously, we're still friends. And we had this wonderful connection right away. And he asked me how many dates I'd been on. And I told him it was my first date. He's like, no. He's like, I actually really like you. You need to go out and go crazy and go on 50 dates and whatever, sleep with people, like do whatever you need to do and then come back. He's like, oh, you are too beginning. You are a baby in this process. You gotta go heal, girl. And I just will never forget that. I was like, that was such sage advice. And I thought, oh, I'm ready. No, I wasn't.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. It is such smart advice. So it sounds like you did a lot of healing and moving through. And I'm just wondering if you could maybe share kind of the part that you never saw coming, but changed you for the better.
Interesting. Probably the fact of that now that I get to do it over, I get to decide what my life looks like. Meaning, I don't really think I'll ever get married again. I don't think I'll ever live with anyone again. I have my own business. I have my own house. I don't have any kids. And I'm in a wonderful, amazing, probably the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. And we have zero desire to live together or get married. And so I think the surprising thing is I thought that I would want that again. And realizing that there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of personal growth in having your own space and being able to, I mean, this sounds a little bit terrible, but not having to answer to anybody. I'm a little surprised by how much I enjoy this.
Yeah, but I don't think that's terrible at all to say. And I think also, Jess, the work you do about understanding people's types. I mean, there are just people, right, who just flourish better if they have their quiet time. And so.
Yeah, and interestingly that you bring that up is that is a big part of who I am. So I have also realized that I am, although I'm very extroverted, I need a lot of time by myself. I am extremely creative. I am extremely entrepreneurial, and having free space to be able to do that is really powerful for me. So I don't know. Everyone's going to do whatever they're going to want to do,
Right.
but I am really disenchanted with this whole being married somehow completes you or like makes you a full person. Right. I mean, I just think that is absolute 100% bullshit. I remember going to a wedding, and oh God, some of my friends might hear this, but they already know this. We went to a wedding in Mexico, and a couple of the women, their spouses weren't even there. And I was single, and there was a couple other single people there, men and women. And they had a couples dinner. And I was so fucking offended.
Right. What does that mean? Only for couples?
Yeah. They had a huge night out and didn't invite any of the single people or even the people that were married, but their partners were not there.
Wow.
And I let them have it. I actually let them have it. Well,
that's part of why there's such a stigma about divorce, because on the podcast I do with Dr. Shafali, we talk about this. Like, you have to go back to the stigma about marriage, right? That marriage is somehow something that makes you invited to a different party, right? That you're on this other level. Yeah, exactly. Like, wait a minute. How about,
we're just complete human beings. That's so insulting. It's so insulting to our own personal development. I don't know. That was the first moment where I went, oh, wow, I've been part of a club that I was unknowingly a part of a club. And now that I'm not in that club, it was just my first realization of like, oh, I didn't even realize this. And oh my God, have I been doing this? Have I not been inviting people? So in our culture, I just find it dismissive and a little disgusting that we assume that single people, this is fascinating too, that being single is a problem with them. A choice, like a choice. Like, I travel by myself by choice. Right. And one of my very dear friends, she's single, has been single since I've known her, and she was really inspired by the fact that I travel by myself. And so she was like, I'm going to take a solo trip. And she went to some resort, which I also told her was a mistake. You don't go to resorts, you go to like VRBOs. But she went to a resort, and a woman, with 47 kids and some spouse, like, who knows how your relationship even is, said something to her like, oh, it's so sad that you're here by yourself. And she messaged me that night and was like, oh my God, how do you deal with this? And I said, I deal with it because it's by choice. Don't fucking feel sorry for me.
Exactly.
Like, I'm empowered. I am here by myself. She has plenty of friends.
Exactly.
She can do whatever she wants. It is so empowering. And so the fact that we look down upon married people or single people or people that have kids or whatever, just mind your own.
Exactly. Well, that's what I love about people when I get to talk to them about their divorce, because it does feel like I feel like you broke free of this bondage of patriarchy, essentially saying that especially heterosexual are the ideal. And it's like, no, this is real life. Like, now we're in real life together. And so I love that you brought that up. I do want to ask you kind of, if you could go back, so now it's been 8 years, and even like the 6 years before, knowing what you know now, what little message would you give that wonderful Jessica at any point? What would you say to her?
Because it's always interesting. I don't regret any of it. I'm not one of those people. I mean, it's totally why I do what I do now. It was all meant to happen. I I would say the message would be you are capable.
Yeah.
Like you are capable. You can do anything. Like now knowing what I've done with my life, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like I left corporate America. I've written 2 books. I've started a podcast. I have this business. Like I have an awesome, amazing life that would have never happened if I would have, and I can say that it would have never happened if I would have stayed in that relationship. It could not have happened because of our masculine energies, whatever. He just needed me to stay small so he could stay big. So that couldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so believing earlier, which, I don't know if you can even do that in hindsight, but that I was capable, I was capable. And I was younger then, I'm 47 now, right? I just, knowing that we are capable of creating magnificent change in our lives is one of the biggest secrets I think we have. Like,
And Jess, I have to tell you, most of the people I've had on this podcast have had that exact answer. You can do
really?
This. Yeah, you can do this. You're strong. You're capable. That this fear of not being able to make it through, and that's why I have this podcast, so people can hear real stories. That yes, we all had moments where we're on hands on our knee, on our knees in the kitchen, but there is this growth and this movement, and your life wouldn't be where it is if you hadn't been divorced.
No. And it is true. I mean, I'm actually on the precipice of another big life change. And I'm also, I'm telling myself stuff like that. Like, you can do anything. If you want to move to Maui, move to Maui. If you want to sell your house and sell every single thing you own and move across an ocean, like, you can do it. We get so stuck in the what ifs, or, oh my God, am I going to regret selling this house I love? Like, whatever. I learned a few years ago that I don't really actually believe there are wrong decisions.
Yeah.
I just believe we have to make a fucking decision. It's like the choose your own adventure books, right?
Yes.
If you never open the next chapter,
Love
we're
it.
just going to be sitting in the same chapter. We're like, hey, what's happening? Nothing's going on. Why isn't anything changing? Because you're not doing anything. And so taking a trial separation, or I don't know, even getting divorced, I don't know, get remarried, I don't care, but make some, or the couples that just sit around and never go to therapy, hire a therapist. It is an action. You just opened another door. You have no idea what's going to come. Because I remember during all of that, God, it was like years and years and years. I was in Mexico with my sister, and we were swimming in a pool, definitely intoxicated, later in the afternoon. Everyone else was gone. And she just straight up asked me, it's one of those moments you'll never forget. She asked me, why are you not leaving? Right? Because she could see me the way I couldn't see myself. She saw me as brilliant and capable and powerful, and she's just looking at me like, what's happening? Why are you not leaving? And it just blurted out of my mouth. I was like, I'm scared that I won't have any money. And I said it, and I was actually just embarrassed of my own answer. And she just called bullshit. She was just like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You are so capable of creating, again, whatever you want in your life. And I'm not going to say it was easy, but it's the best decision I've ever made in my whole gosh darn life.
I love it. And that's another common theme I'm hearing from people I interview, Jess, is another person being able to see that. And even if you don't take any action, I know for me, when I had that, I didn't take action for a long time, but they have said it, they have seen you, you've been seen, which a lot of times, of course, in your relationship, you haven't. So I love hearing your story. I love the way you describe it. Is there anything as we wrap up that you want to make sure our audience hears, or you want to share about your journey?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't have said this until we had this conversation, but I think the resounding thing that's in my heart right now is you're not stuck. You're not stuck. Nothing has to be forever. It can be, but nothing has to be forever. And that's okay. I remember watching my mom she's had so many, I call them chapters of her life. And when I was younger, just thinking like, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. And now that I'm 47, I fully understand chapters of your life. And it's okay to close chapters.
Right. And I love this idea, like it's a choose your own adventure, that your divorce was a choose your own adventure. So each chapter has a new unbelievable opportunity.
Yeah.
And oh my God, Jess, my heart is saying like, yes to Maui. Yes to Maui. Yes to Maui. Just like your sister turned to you and was like, are you kidding, girl? You can do it. I'm sitting here thinking,
I know.
girl, you can do it. And then you can do anything. And so I want to thank you so much. Jess, can you let people know how they can find you and your amazing work?
Yeah, you bet. I'm jessicabutts.com, Butts, and there's a free personality assessment on there and lots of, fun, interesting things. I'm a total Myers-Briggs nerd and expert in that field, so most of my work is around that. And then I'm a real big fan of Instagram, and I'm Front Seat Life at Instagram, which is the name of my business.
Great. And your books, can you say the name of your books? Because
yeah,
I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I have two. The first one is called Live Your Life from the Front Seat, which is all about personality type and based off of this work from these other amazing authors that came up with this car analogy. And then I just kind of took it to another level. And then the second book is more for entrepreneurs, which is called Don't Do Stuff You Suck At.
Love it. I love it. I love it. That's really good. It's another part of like the saying when you're done, right? Like don't doing things you suck at. Like at some point, I did actually suck at my marriage.
Yeah.
Like I was not the right person.
Living with people.
Yeah.
I suck at it, so I'm just not going to do it anymore.
Exactly. I love it. Well, Jess, thanks for bringing your heart, your soul, and your honesty and your vulnerability. I'm so grateful you were here.
Thank you so much.
So good. Thanks. Okay, let me just pause.